Hello, I am your host. It has been brought to my attention that the following motion picture may not be suitable for certain audience members. For that, I ask you to leave. But for those who wish to stay, I must warn you that you will be shocked, horrified, and frightened beyond all compare. Or be informed about a toy. Either way, I get paid. Thank you.
Balboa here with a brand new Halloween review. That's right, for October, the month of Hallows Eve, we will be reviewing scary things like ghosts. Today's review is something I've been wanting to review for a long time. In fact, ever since it first hit my Toys R Us. That's right, the Nickelodeon Danny Phantom action figure with 10 points of articulation. See, it says so right there on the packaging. 10 points of articulation. So, yeah, I want to say right now that if the quality of the review is different or worse, I heavily apologize. My camera recently broke, which is unfortunate because that thing lasted me a very long time, ever since I've started making videos. So hopefully audio and visually it's just as good, even maybe a little lackluster. It's a little hard to tell, but as I'm doing the whole editing thing, we'll be able to see, and if it is, then I heavily apologize. But we're gonna have to truck through, and yeah, so let's take a look at the packaging. Packaging is fairly decent. I don't like this big yellow thing here, or this pattern. Not a big fan of it, but I love the fact that the cartoons are right here in solid colors. I mean, they could have painted them the normal colors, but it's okay that they didn't. I actually really like the fact that you have some older cartoons with some of the newer ones. Like, I believe Tough from Tough Puppy is here. I think that's his name. I don't watch Nickelodeon that much, except for Chills. I mean, you got Ren and Stimpy, Timmy, Tommy, I think. Yeah, Tommy, Arnold, Cat Dog's on here, and Danny Phantom. So you got a lot of the old characters, which is really awesome. You have a picture of Danny Phantom himself here. That's the only way to tell the packaging, because otherwise they are exactly the same, except they will have a picture of the character here, so that is worth noting. So yeah, we'll put that aside and talk about the figure. The figure, I really do have mixed opinions about it, because in some areas it is phenomenal. In other areas, it's really lackluster in what they did. So, let's talk about the good things first. He comes with... He can do that. He comes with a stand. Bad thing about the stand, it's blue. Yeah, he shoots energy beams that are green, not blue. But he comes with a figure stand. Okay? So, figure stand good. Yeah. Okay, color-wise, the figure... I'm sorry, guys, but they really not even listen to the theme song, because he had snow white hair and glowing green eyes. They got the green eyes, right? But this isn't white. This is all gray. In the show, he had white hair, and all this gray that's on his costume was white. But here it's gray. I don't know why they did this, but they did. I guess they ran out of white paint, or the fact that white and yellow paint really like to chip off. I guess that's why they went with gray, but still, really? Also, for some reason, the hair on mine, it's translucent plastic, and it's like they didn't paint it. And all of the ones at the Toys R Us I went to were like this. So, yeah. I don't know why. Okay, sculpt-wise, it's fairly good. Except for the head. The head is huge. Now, it's been a while since I've actually watched the cartoon, but I remember that his head wasn't as big as his chest. Seriously, is this like the Jimmy Neutron thing, which just, they did it as a laugh, but here they only did it for the toy? I'm serious, I remember his head being proportionate to his body. but it does look like his face. I mean, the face looks like Danny Phantom's face. The hair looks like Danny Phantom's hair. See, it really does look good, but yeah, they really just made it really freaking big. I don't know why. Now, the costume choice they went with was the later one from the later seasons, which had the D, well, the P that was a D. Really awesome. I'm a huge fan of that symbol. It looks really cool. Now, let's talk about articulation. Articulation is fairly good on the toy in certain areas. The ball joint in the head is, this is some scary imagery for the children. Yeah. It's, not really that good. It can easily come off, and it only lets it look left and right. I mean, just twisting it actually pops it off the joint. So, you can actually have Danny Phantom carry his own head. I'm pretty sure that's a ghost power he didn't have in the show, but that kind of amuses me. His arms can't go forward because of the way this is sculpted. It only can go outward, so you can go up this way, or when you start to move it forward, it forces it up in this direction. I don't know why they couldn't have done it so that it can actually move forward. Usually it's because of the actual sculpt. Usually with this problem, I actually just say that it's the design of the figure, not the actual toy maker's fault. But with this, it really is, because I don't really remember him having this kind of shape in his shoulders, so I don't know why they did this. He can bend his elbows, which is good, but it relies on this little thing here, which doesn't look that good. Also, it feels really brittle in these connections. I mean, this is like a Sonic toy. And yeah, I actually do own a Sonic toy, so I know how bad the connection joints are, and it feels just like that quality, and I'm afraid I'm going to break it. The wrists do rotate, surprisingly. He's also one of the few cartoon characters that has 5 fingers, so I'm actually glad they kept that. He has a waist joint, which is good. It's right here above the belt. His legs, which by the way, those are really thin hips, I mean, compared to his body. Again, in the cartoon, it wasn't like this. So, besides from the proportions, it's a good representation, except for the proportions. The legs can go forward about that much, and then it can go back a lot more. So, you might want to rotate this around if you want higher kicks, and then rotate the feet. But, yeah. His knees do bend, and then they bend in the other direction for some reason. Same thing, the elbows can bend in the other direction. Seriously, look at that. I don't think he has this ghost power. This scares me right here. This joint here feels very, very loose. Like, look at that. That's like, if it's like it's gonna come off. I mean, seriously, they really couldn't have done it better. I mean, I went to twist this because it could articulate, but this is so loose, I'm afraid it's gonna just break off. While this one is so tight, I can't even move it. So, yeah, I mean, it feels like a soft plastic was put in there, and it just got stuck with the paint, so when you went to twist it, you're actually tearing the connection there. That's the best way I can actually explain how this joint feels. Speaking of which, you do have pegs on the bottom of the feet, so you can peg him into the stand, which is nice. Problem is his head is so big, he will topple over sometimes like this, or like this. I mean, the joints on this guy is really loose. Especially with his giant head, it just weighs the figure down. Which, it still amuses me that you could take off his head. Now, Danny Phantom has one accessory, and it's an alternate pair of legs. And I gotta say, this was handled, like, perfect. I'm really impressed with how they handled this. So to use this, you must rip the figure in half. I said rip the figure, and there we go. So, now you got Danny Phantom without legs. Oh my gosh, this is amusing. You know what? Hold on. I gotta do this. Oh man, I would kill to see that ghost power in the show. So yeah, his extra accessory is his alternate legs. These snap into place and they look really nice. It's really cool because they actually thought about this and included this little translucent bar here, which can be removed for play, so you can just play with it without having this bar here. So this bar connects here and then connects to this hole right here, which allows the figure to stand a lot more secure than with the legs. Seriously, how come you give this figure no legs, he stands fine, but put the figure on his legs and he can't even stand half the time? Oh, that's just amusing. But yeah, so you can get some more poses out of him with this. And since it rotates, you can get a couple of directions, I guess. But really, it's just more for play than it's really more for display than play, really. He's just meant to kind of just stand there than really move. Yeah, articulation-wise, he does keep the waist joint, which is nice. So, yeah. There's Danny Phantom. I'm just amazed with this figure because it's a Danny Phantom action figure. The only Danny Phantom action figure I've ever seen in my life is the Burger King one. And I have that one. I actually should have brought it out for comparison. But, yeah, and this is what we get. I mean, this is just a big letdown. It really had potential to be a great figure, but they screwed up the proportions. They really did screw up the articulation. The joints feel very fragile. I mean, all the gray, everywhere that's white should be gray. This is, honest to God, a great accessory. They did a good job with this. But everything else about the figure is really questionable. I mean, it represents the character well with his design, but then they screwed up the proportions with the hips and the shoulders and the head, and then the gray. I really am disappointed with this figure, but I have to recommend this figure. It's the only action figure of Danny Phantom, and for those who love the cartoon, and I am a huge fan of the cartoon, I have to say this is a must-have for Danny Phantom fans. If you're not a fan of the show, skip this one. It's not worth it. But, hey, if you're into those obscure characters, then maybe this would be something you would like to get. I just can only recommend this to die-hard Danny Phantom fans like me. I love the show. I would love to get a good action figure. And again, this figure has its ups, but it has so many downs. It's really hard. It's really hard to like it, and I want to, but okay. So yeah, there's my review. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let me know what you guys think of the figure. Do you like it? Do you hate it? You know, usual stuff, and hopefully we'll get a good Danny Phantom figure in the future. But until then, we are left with this. So, I will see you guys later with some more haunting reviews for Halloween. Okay, bye.